It's another exciting day here in Algebra 2. We are starting Unit 5 with equations of our quadratic functions, and I'm going to show you two ways to do this today with a calculator. So the first way we are going to do this is from 3 points, and what we're going to do is use a system. So it'll be a 3-variable system, but you don't have to solve it by hand. You get to just use a matrix. Remember that handy-dandy shortcut? So recall our standard form for a quadratic is ax squared plus bx plus c. So in order to write the equation, I need to know what a, b, and c are so that I can put them into my equation in standard form. So in order to do that, when you have 3 points, what we are going to do is make 3 equations with these x and y values. So I'm going to use one where x is -3 and y is -2, another where x is -1 and y is 2, and then a third where x is 0 and y is 1. So one at a time, I'm going to plug those into a quadratic equation. On the first one, that's going to be a times -3 squared plus b times -3 plus c equals my y value, -2. So I plug in my x value twice and my y value once. To simplify this, -3 squared is going to be 9. So 9a, -3 times b will be -3b plus c equals -2. So there's one equation. Now I'm going to repeat this with my second point. A times -1 squared plus b times -1 plus c equals 2. Again, you plug in the x value twice. Well, -1 squared is 1, so this is just going to be a. -1 times b is going to be -b. C is still c, and that's now equal to +2. And then our final point is when x is 0, so this is going to be a times 0 squared plus b times 0 plus c equals 1. So 0 squared is 0, 0 times 0 is 0, b times 0 is 0, and then I still have c, and that's equal to +1. So here are my 3 equations. What I'm going to do now is make a matrix. So that'll be 9, -3, 1, -2, 1, -1, 1, 2, 0, 0, 1, and 1. Now we are going to use a matrix again, and I have linked the Desmos one for you in today's Canvas, or this week's Canvas, I should say. So here's the instructions for the day. Here's the video you currently are watching, the matrix calculator. I need a new matrix with 3 rows and 4 columns, and now I'm ready to input my values. Oh, I did this backwards. Sorry, we need 3 rows and 4 columns. There we go. 1, -1, 1, 2, 0, 0, 1, 1. So this is done now. What I need to do now is reduce row echelon of matrix A, and it will tell me my 3 values, -1, -2, and 1. Those are my A, B, and C values. So A is -1, B is -2, and C is +1. Bringing that back to what this means in our equation is I know A is -1, so my quadratic will be -x squared. B is -2, so that will be -2x, and C is +1. So there's the equation of my quadratic. That's it. Let's practice this a few more times with some different points. On this next one, my first point is -2, -1. So that will be a times -2 squared plus b times -2 plus c equals -1. So simplifying that out, -2 squared is +4, so I'll have 4a. This will give me -2b plus c equals -1. Now I'm going to move on to my next point, 0, 3. So a times 0 squared plus b times 0 plus c equals 3. So that's going to give me 0 plus 0 plus c equals 3. Our last one, 1 and 2, a times 1 squared plus b times 1 plus c equals 2. So that's just going to be a plus b plus c equals 2. Now I can make a matrix. Not sure why the y decided it needed to be in the middle instead of on the left, but nonetheless, 4, -2, 1, -1, 0, 0, 1, 3, 1, 1, 1, 2. I'll go back to my matrix. Let's do a new matrix with 3 rows, 4 columns. And we have 4, -2, 1, -1, 0, 0, 1, 3, 1, 1, 1, 2. Reduced row echelon, this one is now matrix B, and I get -1, 0, and 3. So A is -1, B is 0, C is 3. So putting those values into my quadratic, I'm going to have -x squared. If B is 0, that means I have no middle term, and this will just be plus 3. Okay, one more like this. We need to set up our 3 equations so we can make a matrix. I have -2 and +1 now. So this will be A times -2 squared plus B times -2 plus C equals 1. Simplifying that out, I will get 4A minus 2B plus C equals 1. Now I'm going to use the other point, -1, 3. And that will be A minus B plus C equals 3. And then I have the last point, 1, -5. And so that's going to be A plus B plus C equals -5. So my matrix will be 4, -2, 1, 1, 1, -1, 1, 3, and 1, 1, 1, -5. So using our matrix one more time, 3 rows, 4 columns, 4, -2, 1, 1, 1, -1, 1, 3, 1, 1, 1, -5. Reduced row echelon now for matrix C, and we have -2, -4, 1. So A is -2, B is -4, C is +1. So in my equation, that will be -2x squared minus 4x plus 1. Okay, so that is one way that we can find a quadratic equation when we're given points. Another way is with something called a quadratic regression. This also involves a calculator. And what you do is you enter all of your points. So when we have more than 3, we use a regression. And so we are going to use Desmos for this. So I have a table with x and y values. And what I'm going to do is go to Desmos. Again, if you are looking at the module for this week, the last link is this regression calculator, which looks like normal Desmos. So I'm going to open this in another tab. And what I'm going to do, again, looking back here, I'm going to put all of these x's and all of these y's in a table. So if you're looking in Desmos, the way that you get to the table, is by hitting this plus sign here. And then you'll select a table. And so you'll put all of those x values in the x column, and then all of your y values in the y column. And I'm just pulling these straight from your notes. All right. Then I'm going to select Add Regression, and I need to specify Quadratic Regression. What this has done now is given me my quadratic equation, and we're just going to round to 3 decimal places, and I'm going to copy this exactly as it is. -0.707x squared plus 20.691x minus 69.651. That is my quadratic equation, and I will write it down just like that. All right, I'm going to do the same thing for example 2. Back to Desmos. I'm going to clear this table and add a new one. Adding all my x values and then all of my y values. Okay, then I'm going to add a regression, a quadratic regression, and again it's going to give me my equation, and I'm going to round to 3 decimal places. This one's going to be -8.681x squared plus 166.394x minus 419.722. That is going here for my equation. We'll do one more for good measure. Back to Desmos. I'm going to clear that table and add a new one. And it's really important to put all of your values, not just some of them, so that you get an accurate regression. Okay, regression, quadratic, again 3 decimal places, negative 4.178x squared plus 158.515x minus 677.389. So there are my 3 equations for this example. I do want to show you one thing on your homework for today because it has a built-in regression calculator. You could use Desmos like I've shown you, and you'll have to do that on quizzes and tests, but when you're doing your homework, when you get to a problem with a quadratic regression, you can open a statistics calculator, copy the values for the calculator, and then paste the values. And what it will do is calculate for you a quadratic regression. And there are your A, B, and C values. And you will round, as it says, this one says rounding to the nearest tenth, so that's 1 decimal place. But again, I'll show you those steps one more time. I'm going to open a statistics calculator. I'm going to copy the values, paste them, and then from this main menu list, we're going to do Calc menu, and you want to select quadratic regression, not quartic regression, quadratic. And it'll give you your values. So this is an easy enough lesson to get through with me not being there. I fully expect you to be successful in this homework assignment. You have quadratic regressions like this, and then a few where you are making the system and using a matrix to solve.